They're cute, talented, and in the Hollywood spotlight. This is TV Kids Week here on Biography, our look at 5 stars who traded the playground for the soundstage. Hi, everyone. I'm Barry Williams, also known as Greg Brady. As the coolest and smoothest of the Brady kids, I had my share of dates, but my TV parents never explained the facts of life to me. That wasn't the case for little Kim Fields, who roller skated her way into our hearts as Tootie on The Facts of Life. And while Kim eventually lost the wheels, she managed to keep rolling right through life, finding success as a student, community leader, and director. But for Kim Fields, it hasn't always been a smooth ride.
I'm a lot of fun when I'm not being serious and meaningful.
She was a lot of fun. Little Tootie, the charmer who taught the world some facts of life.
I remember the first time meeting her, you know, like, oh my God, that's Tootie.
But she learned about life the hard way. Born in Harlem, she went to Hollywood with her single mom at the age of 7.
We would have pot pies because they were 25 cents, and that's how Kim and I survived.
She got her first break in a national TV commercial.
Mrs. Butterworth, I love you.
Oh.
And made it to primetime in a breakthrough role.
My goal is to look like Diana Ross.
She felt the pressure of being one of the only black kids on TV during the 1970s.
It was important that she was on that show, that we could have somebody to relate to.
After the facts, she struggled to find a life beyond Tootie.
There is certainly the possibility of a trap, and the trap being that that's all you're ever going to be known for.
And as an adult, Kim Fields has stretched out into a variety of roles, both on and off camera.
Professional, driven, loving, sexy.
This is my 25th year doing this. I mean, that is nothing but the grace of God. Are you kidding me?
And a lot of fans in high places.
Kim knew timing, she knew cadence of lines, and she was remarkably adept at getting the most out of anything. She got the most tears, she got the most laugh. She was very good with empathy, sympathy, and hilarity. She was just on properly, but she was never overdoing it. So I just knew she was a comer.
In 1979, Fred Silverman, the president of NBC, wanted to develop a spin-off of the hit show Different Strokes. He decided to take Charlotte Ray's character, Mrs. Garrett, and give her a series of her own.
It was a show that originally arose because Fred Silverman had an idea, and a quite simple idea, which was Welcome Back, Kotter, but with girls.
Kim Fields was called to audition for the new show.
There was not, to my knowledge, a character that was a black girl on there, because when I went to audition, there was nothing but white girls everywhere. And I thought, again, let's go home. Don't want to be here. And again, I got taken to the bathroom, got the talk, came back out, and they liked me a lot.
Kim got the role of Dorothy Tootie Ramsey, the youngest member of the large ensemble cast. She was just 9, but she was playing a 12-year-old. The producers put roller skates on Kim to make her taller.
She was so adorable and so sweet, and we all loved her. She was the one we all loved a lot.
Tootie glided into our homes for the first time when The Facts of Life premiered on August 24th, 1979.
I watched the show and I remember thinking then, I said, she's so cute.
I can't imagine that anyone would have a different impression than she was just as cute as a bug.
Everybody watched every week just to see if she was ever going to take off those daggone roller skates.
The Facts of Life was a show about an all-girls boarding school in Peekskill, New York. The cast featured 7 teenage students and the house mother, played by Charlotte Ray.
They all looked very different from each other. You know, different races, different sizes, different hair color, all of that, different backgrounds.
I just wondered where those girls were in my neighborhood, because we didn't have any girls like that living in a house with like 5 good-looking women, and they just had the den mother, and that they just, where were they at?
The first season, the show got mixed reviews and low ratings. The consensus? Too many young cast members and not enough focus on a core group. The characters were practically bumping into each other on the set. The producers made the decision to retool the show and pare down the cast.
We are in trouble.
I heard that they were cutting girls, so, you know, black girl thought, oh, well, I'm definitely the first to go, because we always get killed early in the movies. We get cut in the shows. I have no reason to be there.
In fact, there were a few people who did want to replace Kim's character.
Kim was always too young. There were writers who complained bitterly that there was nothing to give Kim. That what is she going to do? She can't drink, she can't get into trouble.
But Tootie was one of the more popular characters, so Kim survived the cut.
In this field, it has nothing to do with kindness. It has to do with money and greed. Excuse me, but it's true. And so therefore, she was there because she was making money for them, because she was right on the money.
The producers and writers decided to let Tootie have some stronger storylines where she could make some serious mistakes. And it worked.
No, I'm not such a child. And I can do anything they do.
We had little 12-year-old Kim violate the rules of the game and drink, but she got her comeuppance bad, so that was good for the show.
I know what I did was childish and wrong, but I did it, and it was my fault.
As the only African-American on The Facts of Life, Kim began to emerge as a role model for other black kids around the country.
When you have 100 shows on television and there aren't any African Americans in starring roles, when you see that one or two, it becomes really important.
And Kim, as Tootie, became a trendsetter for all kids who had to wear braces.
Can't call you kid anymore. How about brace face? I like metal mouth. I like tin grin better.
Kind of made braces a fashion statement for young people. It was kind of like jewelry for the teeth, you know? And all young kids wanted to wear braces because Kim Fields Tootie had braces on The Facts of Life.
It's very surreal, you know what I mean? And to think that you're so, so blessed, I guess, to have people regard you like that. It's weird. It's an honor. Good Lord, it's an honor.
Tootie, of course, did not represent a typical black child growing up in America. Nevertheless, the role was a primetime breakthrough.
I thought it was great of her being in that role. And the best thing was that it was a role for anybody. And Kim just happened to be black.
The fact that Kim was there as an African-American actress and as an African-American character in that show made a huge statement, just by her presence, just by being.
She fit right in. She went to the same school. She lived in the same quarters. She had the same humor, the same intelligence. They all got along fine.
As a teenager, Kim became a spokesperson for a number of causes like the March of Dimes and sickle cell anemia. She made numerous public appearances and even testified before a House committee on the issue of teen suicide.
It was this great sense of responsibility, but it wasn't a burden, and it wasn't pushed on me. It was something that I really liked.
But being a star at such a young age can lead to feelings of entitlement. Kim's mother brought her back down to earth.
I was at home and Mom said, you know, well, make sure to clean your room. And it really wasn't in some sassy way, but I was like, well, that's kind of what we have a maid for, right? I didn't get the sentence out good. Pow! I was like, oh, okay, I'll go, I'll clean.
I wish I had a camera that day. That was a non-Tootie look. There was a eyes, butt, and the face. She was absolutely, she couldn't believe I had done that.
Chip wanted to make sure that Kim had proper supervision when she was on the set, so she asked her sister, Pat Moore, to move to Los Angeles and be Kim's guardian.
If the kids have the discipline and they stay grounded, they'll be okay, you know, and we were not, this didn't faze us. So it was like, no, sit down, go over there, sit your butt down in that chair and be, you know, obey.
Chip also made sure Kim never severed her roots with the theater and the inner city. Throughout her tenure as Tootie, Kim performed in plays that Chip directed in Los Angeles.
It was her way of giving back to the community and making sure that her kid knew at a young age, this is what you are about, Miss Missy.
Kim was performing in one of her mother's productions at the Englewood Playhouse in L.A. when she met fellow actor Malcolm Jamal Warner. He was 11, and Kim was the older woman.
I remember the first time meeting her, you know, like, oh my God, that's Tootie. And I had a big crush on her.
Malcolm Jamal let Kim know how he felt, but she spurned his adolescent advances.
One time I approached her and I was like, but Kim, I really like you. And she was like, I know, but you know, you're like my little brother. And that's, no guy ever wants to hear that. I used to sit home in my room and play Michael Jackson's Lady in My Life and sing that to Kim and just be crying. I know she doesn't even know that.
It was
the things that she did, it was just amazing to me.
Kim was the big sister at home, but she was the perennial baby on The Facts of Life. Although the show was never a critical success, it did build a large family-oriented audience. Kim grew up while America watched. For Kim Fields and the other girls, there would be some real-life growing pains, played out in front of a national audience. For 5 years, Kim Fields played Tootie on The Facts of Life. She was 9 when she started and blossomed into a teenager. The show couldn't hide the fact that Kim and her castmates were going through some pretty awkward physical changes.
This phone call is under my jurisdiction. Puberty is difficult regardless if you live in Podunk or if you live in Hollywood and you're on a TV show or in movies or in music. It's magnified a gazillion times when you're in that fishbowl.
And for a young girl maturing physically, that fishbowl can be a terribly uncomfortable and embarrassing place to be. When Kim's body started to develop, the producers asked her mother if they could tape down her breasts to keep her looking cute. Chip adamantly refused.
No! She's a girl growing up, and that's what your show is about. No, you can't tape her down.
In 1984, when Kim was 15 years old, a famous late-night comedienne dubbed the show The Fats of Life on national TV, because several of the cast members were obviously struggling with their weight.
Joan Rivers did that, which wasn't nice of her.
It was a very depressing time for them, and people can be so cruel.
To get a laugh, they'll say anything, even if it's vicious.
But as Kimmy said one time on an interview, to me, it's part of the facts of life. It's a fact of life. We go up, we go down.
Kim dealt with the issue the best way she could, with the support of her mother.
I don't think her fat period messed with that pretty face at all. If anything, it helped to stretch that skin out, made her look fabulous. And I loved her. I don't care what the poundage was, you know. And so did America.
Kim credits her religious beliefs for helping her through the tough times.
Truly and only by the grace of God do I have any kind of sanity that you can really, you know, think about as being tangible. And any sense of self and any sense of self-worth.
For most of her life, Kim had been schooled by studio tutors. But by the time she was 16, she wanted to attend a regular high school. She was able to split her time between her classes and her rehearsals for the show.
Going to high school, my regular high school over at Burbank High School, was one of the best things that I ever did.
Kim threw herself into her studies and quite a few extracurricular activities.
I was the baseball manager. I was in the school play. I worked in the office. I went to all of our, you know, football games, soccer games, track. I mean, just everything. I really just soaked up that whole experience.
On TV, Kim went to an all-girls school, but Burbank High was co-ed, and Kim started to learn some new facts of life.
had a high school sweetheart. That was all cool and grand until, you know, him and my best friend hooked up, and that was that.
After graduating from high school, Kim enrolled in Pepperdine University, a Christian-based institution in Malibu, California. She juggled her studies with her full-time job on The Facts of Life. But her first year as a college student was her last as Tootie. The Facts of Life had a 9-year run, longer than All in the Family and The Mary Tyler Moore Show.
America had every ounce that they could get out of it. And then the girls themselves, I think, were beginning to feel long in the tooth about what they were up to.
The producers added cast members like Cloris Leachman and George Clooney and tried to adjust to the more mature ages of the girls. But the show was ultimately canceled. Kim had mixed emotions about the end of the show that had turned her into an internationally known child star.
The most disappointing thing about the ending of Facts of Life was there was no finale. There was no saying goodbye to these characters that you had watched grow up and that you had grown up with. There was no sending them off into the sunset.
Kim was 18 when The Facts of Life went quietly off the air. She now had the time to put all of her energy into getting her college degree.
In Santa Monica, Kim Fields, News Center 3.
Her major was broadcast journalism and TV production. For a class project, she created a talk show called Campus Spotlight.
What's up, Pepperdine? Woo!
Kim hosted, and she even had a sidekick, an old childhood friend, Daryl Bell.
How you doing?
I'm fine, Kimmy. How are you?
I'm fine.
He also played the drums in her studio band.
We interviewed a lot of different folks and had our little banter back and forth, like David Letterman has Paul Schaefer. Well, Kim Fields had Daryl Bell.
I like these chairs. But you want to sit like this in them.
Because of her own celebrity status in the TV industry, Kim was able to call upon some other good friends to appear on the show.
Jason Bateman!
She realized that her educational goals and her professional reputation brought her respect from the entertainment community.
There wasn't any negativity on me. There wasn't any bad press. I didn't have, you know, the drug problems or anything like that. I was going to school. And in the black community, I was like, you know, the first one in the family that goes to college.
Kim got involved with politics during her college years and campaigned for Reverend Jesse Jackson when he announced his presidential candidacy in 1988. She also actively campaigned for Cleo Fields, a Democrat who was running for Congress in the poorest district in the United States.
When he was running for Congress, he asked both Kim and myself to come to Louisiana to help him with his campaign. And we traveled all over the state of Louisiana in back roads, dark, unlit places where most people had probably never been.
The campaign trail, I think, was very exciting to me, but also very influential to me in terms of the imprint that it would make on my life, being able to get out and see America.
In 1990, Kim received her Bachelor of Arts degree in telecommunications.
She didn't need to do that, but she did it, and I'm just really impressed with her. I know she's done some great things since then, but, you know, that's the high point for me.
And her testament, I think, when it's all said and done, she went to college. So when people say, well, I gave up college because no, she went to college. She took the time to do it, and that's why she's smart now. College ain't no joke.
Armed with a college diploma, Kim Fields was poised to enter the real world. With her childhood officially behind her, she was at a crossroads, trying to find herself as a woman in a variety of ways.
You're watching Kim Fields, part of TV Kids Week on Biography.